Welcome to Blytheway Business News. Today I'm joined by Jay Cheatham, Chief Executive, and Bob Rosenthal, Technical Director of Pantheon Resources. Pantheon is listed on the London AIM market, although the guys are very active in Alaska, and they're going to be telling us about that in a moment. Whatever these guys are doing, they're doing something right. The company's had a tremendous run this year, going from a share price in March of around 7 pence to now hovering around 40p, and a market capitalisation of £214 million sterling. Gentlemen, you've recently received an independent expert report which has confirmed a prospective resort on just the shallowest of the three zones you have at your Talitha project. Jay, I haven't come to you. What does this mean for Pantheon Resources?
Well, Tim, good day from Texas. And what it means is that the independent experts have said that we have, at a minimum, 300 million barrels in the shallowest of our three zones at our Talitha project. And this 300 plus million barrels covers only about 20,000 acres out of our more than 40,000 acres in that unit. It has a net present value at the current strip price, which is the forward curve for oil, of $2.7 billion discounted at 10%. And that is just an enormous amount of value for a company of our size, where we have almost 90% of that working interest. It is an incredible outcome for us. Our own internal estimates are that we have about 500 million barrels in that area, but understandably, the independent experts need to be conservative.
If I could just make a point there, what we've actually done, and as Jay has mentioned, is what we've focused on is the area up dip from the pipeline state well. So that 20,000 acres is all up dip from the pipeline state well. And the reason why we did that, because in that area, we identified a target which had better reservoir than we encountered in the pipeline state. So our work and the models that we gave to Lee Keeling to validate are based on this better reservoir model. And essentially, they've validated that. And of course, the reason why we've done that is in this kind of lower oil price environment, being able to identify the best reservoir targets is where you want to be, because it's going to give you higher value per barrel and a better NPV, which is what we've seen. And so, we're very excited by that. But clearly, there's more oil in the overall track geometry than what we've announced.
I want to take you back to some of these headline numbers just to help myself, to be honest, and then the viewers and potential investors get this into context. We've put two big numbers out there just now: 302 million barrels. For the generalist, the non-aficionado like me, how big is 302 million barrels, Jay?
Well, again, I think I'll jump in there. Sorry, I think I'll take that question. 300 million barrels is an incredible target. You would drill for this in the deep water Gulf of Mexico. You would drill for these sort of targets in deep water West Africa. These are world-class targets, in and of itself. But emphasizing, number one, this is one of three zones that we have in the well. And secondly, this is based on where we believe the best reservoir in just one of these zones is going to be developed. So again, world-class target on itself, but we have two other zones. So onshore, you do not find targets like this.
So 302 million barrels, I'm hearing unique and a world-class asset. The other big number you threw out just then was a net present value of $2.7 billion. Now That sounds enormous. Is that right?
Yes, Tim, that is correct. And one of the reasons that it is so large is the low royalties in the state of Alaska, the tax regime in the United States, our close proximity to both the Dalton Highway, which is the haul road that supports the North Slope, and the underutilized Trans-Alaska pipeline system. So you said the word unique, and our location is unique. Since we're virtually under and adjacent to both of those pieces of infrastructure, our development costs are so much lower than any of the other major discoveries that have been made in the last several years on the North Slope. But we can develop our assets more rapidly with almost no environmental impact and get it on stream very quickly and less expensive than any of our competitors. So we have a huge competitive advantage onshore, as Bob says. We're not dealing with the deep water costs, although it is a harsh environment in the winter, but it's onshore. It's not terribly deep. The deepest penetrations we'll do is a little more than 10,000 feet. And so we just have an incredible advantage over others, plus the fact that we found what looks to be some incredible reservoir properties with lots of oil in the traps.
Okay, so there we are, Pantheon with lots of oil, a fantastic net present value, in a great location. We've talked about that on this show in the past, about the proximity to the pipeline and the infrastructure. Now, I want to come to Bob, because Bob, you've recently announced the unitization process is going ahead at the Alkaid and Talitha projects.
Yeah.
Can you explain why that's important, why that's significant, please?
Well, you have to think about it is that the state is the royalty holder on our acreage. The state is our regulator. And the state is also, has its own independent group of technical staff, geologists, geophysicists, engineers that come in and evaluate our proposal for the unitization. So being able to get a unit like this is a validation from the state that we're going in the right direction. It secures tenure over a huge block of acreage, set in approximately 68,000, 69,000 acres between the two units. Finally, it is a validation of our story. I mean, it's one of the two blocks together is one of the large, if you look at it as, because it's contiguous, is one of the largest contiguous units, ever given to a company. It's like maybe the fifth, post Prudhoe Bay and the Caparic units, probably the fourth or fifth largest sort of awarding. So it's just very good news for us. It helps us in our farm out process.
Okay. Talitha, looks like you'll be drilling Talitha in 2021. That's going to be presumably one of the most significant wells drilled next year.
Yes, Tim. It's difficult for me to talk about the Talitha well and sit down because, I've been in this business more than 50 years. I joined ARCO because they had discovered Prudhoe Bay in 1968, and I knew that was going to transform Atlantic Richfield Company as a company. You dream about drilling wells that have the potential to recover over 1 billion barrels of oil. It's something every oil man dreams about doing. Well, this is the well you want to drill if you're an oil man. We have the opportunity to drill the Talitha well. We have 3 independent zones. We've got, we believe, a 500 million barrels up dip of the Pipeline State well in our shelf margin deltaic. We've got another independent zone right below that called the slope fan system. We've got the Caparic zone sort of at the base of where we'll be drilling. The combination of those in recoverable oil terms is in excess of 1 billion barrels. And that compares favorably with like the Blizzard field offshore UK, the Clare field offshore west of Shetlands. Both of those are offshore. This is onshore. It's not difficult drilling, and it's going to seriously be, if not the most impactful, one of the most impactful wells drilled in 2021. And this is the gold ring that you aspire for if you're an oil man.
Well, I'm sure we're going to look forward to watching the progress on that one next year. More currently, I think we all know, investors know, the market knows, you're currently involved in the farm out process. Quick update, please, on how's the farm out progressing?
Well, I touched upon that with the unitization. We have several groups still, involved in the data room. Some were waiting for verification on the unification. Other group waiting for the leak healing report. So we're still active. Since our last announcement, we were contacted by 2 different groups to come into the data room. It's a bit late stage for that for us, but yeah, we're still in talks.
Okay. Finally, can I come back to you, Jay? You've obviously shared some very exciting news and a very exciting update. I want to push a bit further. Looking to the future, what can we look forward to from Pantheon in the near future? What's the upcoming news? Kuparuk, Talitha, what can we look forward to?
Well, Tim, in our Talitha project, we expect to announce an update on the Kuparuk Reservoir, the deepest of the 3 reservoirs, either later this week or next week. That's something that Bob's team has been working on very diligently. We're very excited about the Kuparuk. That's the same sand that's in the Kuparuk River field to the north and a little west of us. It has 7 billion barrels of oil in place. I'm not implying that we have that much at our Kuparuk, but it is a well-known reservoir, sandstone reservoir on the North Slope. And after we announce that, we're going to do a technical webinar so everyone can tune in and just see all of the great work that Bob and his team have done on the Kuparuk. So we've got that news to look forward to very soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was Jay Cheatham and Bob Rosenthal of Pantheon Resources. Pantheon is listed on the AIM market in London with a ticker of PANR. As we were told, Pantheon's looking at an output of possibly 302 million barrels from just one of the 3 target assets they have, and that's going to give them a net present value of $2.7 billion. Now, the share price may have gone from 7p in March to around 40p now, but looking at that, there could be a long way to go yet for Pantheon Resources. That's it from Blytheway Business News. Thank you for watching.